Waguan, wonderful people. This is Griffin, and last minute I decided to join the Sculptober challenge by Polygon. And over the course of this month, I am hoping to upload every day. But we'll talk more about that as we get into the video. And as we get into the video, I'll talk more about what Sculptober is. And if you want to join, you can as well go ahead. So the prompt for today is boom. Now, thinking of boom, I thought of a bomb, and then I remembered BeatBox from Teen Titans. Originally, I thought of him because I assumed his name was Boombox, but his name was actually Beatbox. So sue me if you will. Don't sue me, but well, we're going to be making Beatbox. He is actually a mutated Boombox. So we're still in the boom category. So beatbox, I know it's not actually much of sculpting, but sculptober is more about trying new things and trying things out to see what you like. So I decided that I'm going to try poly modeling in ZBrush and see how that comes out, see how that turns out. So I'm just hopping straight into ZBrush and trying this thing out. I didn't actually do much of the modeling because it was a lot harder than I thought, and now I know that I'm not going to use ZBrush for modeling anytime soon. But still, it was a fun experiment and I had a swell time trying it out. So I'm just adding some basic shapes. Thankfully, BeatBox is made of simple shapes, so I'm just using the basic IMM insert multi mesh brushes to add some basic meshes that I can use. I might try out a couple of different techniques because, like I said, I've never actually tried modeling in ZBrush, so I did have some difficulties. Things like mirroring things across because all of them were in the same subtool, and I had to actually split it to actually work on the individual parts for the most part. Now, along the way, I'll show you a cool trick of how I made his arms. I know his arms, you can't see them clearly in the reference, but they are curved, and I'll show you a cool trick of how I did that as we go along. Now, to talk a little bit about Sculptober while the time lapse goes on. Sculptober is actually a sculpting challenge that holds every year, and I'm not sure when it started, but I know I'm joining this year. By Polygon, and basically you do a sculpt every day with clay or digitally sculpting it. So any which way you prefer, just go ahead, and you have to do a sculpt every day. And it's a fun experiment to see how far you can go. And I'm hoping to get all the way to the end. This is my first Sculptober, so I hope I get far. But as I've already committed on my Instagram and on YouTube now, I'm pretty sure I'll go as far as I possibly can and try to put in the work every day. You can see I'm trying to make the handle, and of course in a software like Blender, which I so dearly love, this would be a lot easier. But trying to control the geometry, I'm actually making use of masking a lot more than the actual ZModeler brush. And that's just to make the handle, which is actually a very annoying thing to make when modeling. And I actually, in the spirit of trying new things, tried out spheres, but they didn't go as I expected. And now I realized I actually have to learn how to use Z-spheres. But I decided to go back to my classic cylinder. Now I tried the tapering options, and I actually enjoyed using the formers recently, so I decided to give it a try. It didn't work as I expected, so I just decided to mask and scale to get that tapered effect. And I tried a lot of deformation options, which are a ton of fun to play with, and we'll play with them a little more as we progress. But I tried a lot of the options, and they did not exactly give me the result I wanted. So now you can see the trick I'm talking about, where I used the bend in the deformation menu, and I just made the arms that are bent and just scaling that into position. Now, as you can see, the bend actually increased the length of the hands, so the hands are a little too long. But thankfully, ZBrush crashed. Not really thankfully, but ZBrush actually crashed, and I had to redo the arms, and I fixed the length, as you would see in the final render as we progress. So do well to stick around to the end to see the final render. And now I am actually trying to poly paint some of the buttons, and I jumped ahead to when I actually made that part, and that part is actual sculpting. So I did do a bit of sculpting, not actual sculpting. I just dragged an alpha out, and I tried poly painting as well, but I didn't exactly enjoy the effect I was getting, and it looked a bit off. So I decided to abandon that. I actually gave up on poly painting, moved it into Blender, but this was very stressful to actually sculpt, edit, and I have another project going on by the side. So this was actually very difficult. So maybe every week I'll upload the previous week's work, but I would try to keep it day by day. But I can guarantee every week for that. You can see the final render on your screen right now. So if you enjoyed this tutorial, not really a tutorial, if you enjoy this type of content where I show my process of making this character, you would enjoy the ones that are to come. I'm going to try to keep new videos every day, but I can't make any promises for that. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one that is coming very soon. But until I end up on your screen again, which is hopefully soon, this is the Griffin signing out.